So this is my very first Tales game. Please forgive me. So, like all JRPGs, in my opinion, the story is very interesting, but it takes a while for it to pick up. Once it does, though, there is a lot of awesome plot points and unexpected events that I really haven't seen in any other video game, and it does it in a way where you think, you're doing this and this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden this completely different thing just, smacks you across the face, and you realize the whole game has changed, and that is really interesting in a story. And to avoid spoiling anything, it's a very unique story. The gameplay is like most JRPGs, except there is a free run option. Instead of, just attacking the same person or staying in the same space, you're just following an enemy, which I thought was very useful and smart on the developer's part. And also, when the attacking option is not timed, there's something called an AC counter that you can attack with, and you can level that up, and then it resets, and then you just attack again. So it's a very interesting premise to the whole JRPG genre. Now, what I loved in the gameplay was things called arts, or, special moves for each character, dedicated to each character. There may be some overlap, but it's mostly a unique move for each character, and especially the more powerful ones. It just makes you feel like a badass whenever you pull them off. Besides that, you can use items, magic, normal attacks, and also linking, which allows you to partner up with a AI teammate, and you do these specific moves that are tailored to each of those playstyles. And in that linking, there's also separate special moves, which is very, very, very interesting. Basically, gameplay awesome, near perfect. However, I see it being difficult for some gamers because the game does throw a lot on your plate at points in time, and it will take you quite a bit, to master that. And even myself, I didn't even use maybe 1/4 of all the gameplay elements that it offered, just because I didn't want to get overwhelmed. Graphics, voice acting, environment, exploration, music, all incredibly done. Technically, this game came out 2 years ago. Stands on its own merits still today. Also, time spent playing, replayability, all here. It took me 55 hours to finish my first playthrough, and there's another separate playthrough you have to do for trophies or to see missable cutscenes that you did not see because of the way the story is tailored. And it is very, very fun because, as my subscribers should know, I am not the one to repeat things as a certain function, and this game made me want to go and do a second playthrough. Now, with every game, here are the cons. The story is good, as I mentioned, and I have no problem with how long it takes to pick up. However, there is a pacing problem, in my opinion. Unexpected events and those plot points are great, but when they happen, sometimes they're not taken advantage of, and it doesn't really capture you as it should. And I guess it just loses its potential in that area to make the story, that much better. Now, side missions in any RPG, I understand they're not going to be fed to you on a plate. You have to go out and find them, and you have to go to each town or major place and, revisit them after every story mission, etc., etc. However, Tales of Xillia has missions that seem to be far off the beaten path, where you wouldn't even think to look, where you wouldn't even know unless you had a guide, or you literally spent every single minute scouring an area and going to every single place. And I'm not exaggerating on this. You have to go to every single place of this map to find all the side missions in that area, and that just seems kind of like a squandered opportunity to not let everyone get in on the content, but to make it more of a hassle to go find side missions. And lastly, there is quite a bit of technical issues in the exploration or enemies side, because they just, like, at times you can be exploring on a map and there'll be two enemies and they'll start running after you, and then they'll just run into each other, and it looks like they're kissing or something. And similar technical issues to that all across the board, but it doesn't hamper the game in any way, trust me. So if you are an RPG PlayStation gamer, buy Tales of Xillia. Now, if you are not into JRPGs or RPGs, I would say avoid Tales of Xillia, because it is a good game. Don't get me wrong. However, I just don't see it being that game to change people's mind about something.